having a cup of coffee, and I'm going to try not to talk too fast because I don't have much time. And actually, I don't know how long the lives last, but here it goes. I just wanted to share that I have 4 finished objects. I haven't done a video since the end of January. Time just is flying. And I think I'm going to get back on here and do a regular little catch up with all the things I was going to talk about today, but I wanted to share my FOs because, it's fun to finish projects and share them with your nitty peeps. So there's not a lot, couple pairs of socks, a shawl, and a hat. So I think going back to the furthest thing, and we're getting into a different season, so it's like feels a little bit funny talking about hats, but this was very, very fun. And I have my label for the yarn. I think I finished this back in February. It was the terrazzo hat. And I actually had a little bit of a struggle with the pattern, but all in all, it's a great fit. And maybe I can pop a picture in, but I won't. It really is a great cap feel when you're wearing it. Super warm. And I made it with the Flora and Fauna Firm yarn. Cute label, right? So that's one of my FOs. I actually been keeping it on my mannequin back there. It's really cute. The next thing was a pair of socks. This was Mince Pies by Chelsea Yarns. That was Mince Pies was the colorway. Chelsea Yarns was the yarn, and this is gorgeous. The texture of her yarn. I have not made socks out of her sock yarn, and I was just, yeah, super, super happy with it. It's 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. Yeah, Mince Pies. So, such great. I have not worn them yet, and I probably won't till this fall just because I feel like we're moving on from sock season. And then this was a fun one. This was a St. Patty's Day Advent from Molly Klein Designs. This was a little bit, is great, but it's 75% superwash merino wool, 25% nylon. And it's interesting how the different sock yarns, like the more I knit socks, the more I may be leaning towards a preference, which I mean that's great, that's fine. But these turned out really cute. So I did wear these and I've washed them and I put them back on my little blockers because I thought they would show better. But they were a really fun, I like a fun March knit, 17 days of knitting. So this Molly Klein Designs little St. Patty's Day Advent was the 100 gram skeins of the pot of gold, I think it was. So I added that to the tote just because I'm a green person. And I think she did a great job. Okay. And then the next thing, so that's 2 pairs of socks. And then, of course, I think when I come on later for more of my content that I don't have time to share right now, is I I have other socks on the needles, and I started a sweater, and I have yarn enhancements, stash enhancements. Okay, so like I say, I am going to break this up, but this is just an FO parade. Okay, so this is something I had to buy, a mohair brush. I did not own one, and I haven't used it yet, but I completed the Brushability shawl by Wanderlust Knitter. And I am thrilled. I do need to weave in some ends, maybe. It's all blocked. I actually think my ends are woven in, but I just have to snip them. I usually like to block something first. This is this is going to be a great accessory in my wardrobe, don't you think? And it's funny because like I'm not really a purpley person, but I went out on a limb thinking I bought this. I was on a trip in Vegas and I bought this while I was there online. The Fua Fua, their color palette was like amazing, but I just chose this. I was like, I don't have anything in this, and it's fun for spring. Dusty Godmother. Fua Fua is a fingering weight yarn, 70% brushed cashmere and 30% superwash merino. And I really have to say that I absolutely loved knitting this. It was one of the projects, like, of course, we love to finish things, but this was just so great on the needles. And it just goes back to me having like a preference of what we're knitting with, right? It does make a difference. And everything, and I'm not like, I don't mean that in a negative way. I've had cashmere on my needles like a year ago, and I remember thinking that was like impactful. And then I'll go, and I love making socks, but there are variations in sock yarn, and it just goes on. And then sometimes like I'm in the mood for like my little rustic terrazzo hat. I would not want to knit with this all the time, but it felt so good. It just feels good to change up our yarn. And I think that's the point as knitters, like variety makes it fun. And so I love that. So this pattern, I can either brush it, which I think I will because it's kind of the whole ambiance of it. It if you brush it, I think I would lose a lot of my stitch definition, which I think it gives this like raised look. But right now, before brushing, you can still see all the cashmere kind of, that's all just softness. And you can see it has texture to it. The light is good right now that we can see it. Anyway, that is my most recent finished shawl. I'm actually working, and I'm going to come back and share all what I'm working on, but I'm doing the Henry Mowry Nightlights shawl, and that has been a lot of fun too. So maybe I'm moving into an age category where I'm going to wear more shawls, but I really would love to have more shawls. Like I use them as a scarf, like on my walks, but they're totally different. Like a shawl is a shawl and a scarf is a scarf. Okay, so I'm going to finish my coffee. I'm going to get off here. I can't believe I just made a few minutes for this, and it'll just be sitting here right on my page. And I am going to come back on and share some other stuff real soon. But I hope everybody is doing well and happy with what they're working on. I know there's just not enough time in my day for everything I want to work on, but we're so lucky to have our knitting and to love it. So hope everybody's having a good Thursday, and we'll talk soon.